Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're journeying back to the age of heroes and myths, to the gleaming walls of a legendary city, Troy. While names like Hector, Paris, and Achilles often dominate the tales of the Trojan War, there's another figure whose story is just as compelling, if not more tragic. We're talking about Hecuba, the steadfast queen of Troy. So who was Hecuba? Before the war, she was the revered wife of King Priam, a proud mother to many of Troy's greatest heroes and princesses, including the mighty Hector and the prophetic Cassandra. Imagine her life, presiding over a prosperous city, her family at the heart of its power and prestige. She was the matriarch of a dynasty, her days filled with royal duties, the joys of her children, and the security of a city said to be protected by the gods themselves. She embodied the dignity and strength of Troy. But as we all know, a storm was brewing on the horizon. The fateful judgment of her son Paris, the abduction of Helen, and the launch of 1,000 Greek ships set the stage for a conflict that would last a decade. Throughout these 10 long years of siege, Hecuba wasn't just a passive observer. She was the emotional anchor for her family and her people. Picture the scene. Hecuba watching her sons, one by one, march out to defend their home. She would have felt a mother's pride mixed with a constant gnawing fear. She advised her husband, King Priam, and offered prayers to the gods in the city's temples. She was the queen who had to maintain her composure while her world was slowly being torn apart. One of the most heartbreaking moments is when she learns of the death of her beloved son, Hector, the protector of Troy. The ancient texts describe her grief as a raw, physical force, a lament that echoed through the palace. Yet, even in her sorrow, she had to remain strong for her remaining family and her city. She had to endure, to keep hope alive, even as it flickered and dimmed. Then came the final devastating blow: the Trojan horse. After 10 years of relentless fighting, the Greeks appeared to retreat, leaving behind a giant wooden horse as a supposed offering. Despite the desperate warnings from her daughter Cassandra and the priest Laocoon, the Trojans, desperate for an end to the war, pulled the horse into their city. That night, as Troy celebrated its victory, Greek soldiers emerged from the horse's belly, opening the gates for their waiting army. What followed was a night of unspeakable horror. The city that Hecuba had called home, the city she had reigned over, was sacked and burned to the ground. The Trojan War was over, but for Hecuba, the true nightmare was just beginning. She witnessed the death of her husband, King Priam, who was cut down at the altar of the gods. She saw her daughters and daughters-in-law captured, their fates sealed as spoils of war for the victorious Greek leaders. Imagine the depth of her loss. In a single night, she went from being a powerful queen to a childless, widowed, and enslaved old woman. Her city was reduced to ash and rubble. Her entire family was either dead or scattered to the winds, destined for servitude in the very lands of their enemies. The poet Euripides, in his plays The Trojan Women and Hecuba, masterfully captures her descent into despair. She becomes a symbol of the profound suffering of war, the ultimate victim whose pain represents the loss of an entire civilization. But Hecuba's story doesn't end with just grief. It transforms into a tale of vengeance. According to one powerful version of her myth, she was given as a slave to Odysseus. During her captivity, she discovered the body of her youngest son, Polydorus, washed up on the shore. He had been sent to the Thracian king Polymestor for safety, along with a large amount of Trojan gold. But Polymestor, seeing Troy's defeat, murdered the young prince to steal the treasure. This final betrayal broke something inside Hecuba. The grieving mother was consumed by a burning desire for retribution. With a chilling resolve, she tricked Polymestor and his sons into her tent, promising to reveal the location of more hidden Trojan gold. Once they were inside, she and the other Trojan women exacted their terrible revenge. Hecuba, once a queen, blinded the king who had murdered her child. This act of vengeance is a shocking and dark turn in her story. It shows how extreme suffering can push a person to extreme actions. Was it justice or just more violence? The myths leave that for us to ponder. In the end, the gods, perhaps in pity or as a final curse, transformed her. As she was being taken away, she began to bark and snarl and was turned into a dog. It's a tragic, almost bizarre ending for a once great queen, forever howling her grief to the winds. So, why does Hecuba's story still resonate with us thousands of years later? Because she is more than just a character in an ancient epic. She is the embodiment of resilience in the face of unimaginable loss. She represents the devastating human cost of conflict, a perspective often lost in tales of glorious battles and heroic deeds. Her journey from a respected queen to a grieving mother, a vengeful slave, and finally, a creature of myth, forces us to confront the deepest, darkest aspects of suffering and human nature. She reminds us that behind every war, there are countless stories of personal tragedy, stories of people who lose everything. Hecuba's legacy is a powerful and somber one. She is the eternal mother, mourning her children and her home. Her story is a timeless warning about the true price of war, a price paid not on the battlefield, but in the hearts of those left behind. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the story of Hecuba. It's a heavy one, but so important. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more tales from history and myth. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Hecuba in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.